cocksuckers, and you better come prepared because they don't fuck around on Monday. Monday, most people come in, I had such a great weekend. Oh my God, go fuck yourself. That was then. This is now, bitch. It's a whole new set of rules. It's Monday. If you ain't waking up with the taste of blood in your fucking mouth like a shark 5 feet from the shore, you fucked up. You understand? Because Monday is when you go, everybody else is like, still the weekend, you fucking go.
Hey, what is going on? You know what? It's been a little while. I know sometimes you guys get thrown off. You ain't seen us in a little while. You figure, wait a minute, they've abandoned us. Never that. This man to the other side of me, the great talent. Y'all know this man is back on the road. He is back out here blazing spots all around the country and, getting crazy and beautiful things in everywhere around the country. And yours truly is doing his thing as well, just making sure things are happening in and around the city and beyond. So we both working hard. We out here putting together some other things, some other beautiful situations for you guys to hopefully be a part of as, we both continue to grow in this space. But more importantly, guess what today is? It's Monday.
It's a damn Monday, bro.
It's motivation time again. And there is nothing I love more than our motivational Mondays, because this is our opportunity to kick off the week. It's our opportunity to kind of get you guys in whatever groove you need to get in. So not only do you get through your work week, you blaze that bad boy, but go into the weekend smooth so that this way you can come back and do it all again next Monday. But that's what makes this so dope. But I'm going to start off by saying to y'all, I had an absolutely phenomenal weekend. I'm going to really get into it and let him get into it, because it was really hanging out with him this weekend. We did it up Friday. We did it up Saturday. Big kudos and shout outs to Ray DeJean and his new Laughaholic spot on Washington and Park Avenue in Brooklyn. If you have or didn't have an opportunity, please get by, check the space, go for some comedy, go for whatever other, wonderful events that he's going to have there, because he has a lot of wonderful events coming up. But it's a beautiful, beautiful space. And from this, I will segue into some motivational stuff that I thought about coming out of this weekend. But before I get into that, I'm going to turn it over to my partner in crime and let him tell y'all how his weekend was, because we always start the show off with that. T.
Let me tell you something, bro. First of all, thank you, everybody. Again, we missed you just as much as you missed us. But this is how I know this show is working. When we miss a week, you start getting those inboxes and those messages and emails. Yo, what's going on? Right? Like, okay, so y'all checking for it. You're listening. We got people out there actually listening and looking for that little boost, because that's what it is to us as well. Just don't think because we on here, we don't need to be motivated too. God knows, the man just told you the 2 nights we did in Brooklyn. My week started Thursday, and it will end tomorrow. So that's 5-6 days in a row of just bang, got to show up and show out. And, we ain't getting no younger, so the wear and tear is crazy. So the Casamigos hit different now. You know what I'm saying? We had a good time. Amir, Friday and Saturday, 2 different crowds, 2 sold out crowds. Shout out to the VIPs. And shout out to everybody that came. Let me say this. When you know, and this is me being motivated, because a lot of times when people just hire you out, they set the tone of whatever that is. They could say, hey, I'm going to pay your thing. I'm going to do a $20 ticket. I'm going to do a $15 ticket. I'm going to do what that's on them. You already got a deal in the bag or whatever. This, unfortunately, is not that situation. And fortunately, as a business dude, and me and Ray's past relationship, I'm allowed to go in there, and do a sweeter deal, which, so now he and I has to agree on what the ticket price will be to pay whatever we're trying to pay. So I say that to say that my tickets was $35 to $45. And Amir, you're going to love this. It was so many colleagues or haters, whatever you want to call them. 35, 40, they ain't going to happen. Blah, blah, blah. They ain't going to, y'all crazy. That's too much, whatever. I always say this. People pay for what they want to see. Yeah. You know what I mean? Now, just because you can't pack a house with $15, $10 ticket and you see 35, 45, you're getting what you pay for. You know, I'm this is a special engagement. You know, I'm stretching out. We're gonna bang this shit through. And more importantly, the VIP actually got the free calendars, which go for $20-$30 if you was to buy it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They got that included in the VIP with the front row seating and all that good stuff. The weekend was stupid. Shout out to Angela Yee's coming through. Donnell Rollins coming through. Of course, my man Amir hanging with me all weekend. Big Ricky D holding it down with the merch. And thank y'all for grabbing some merch too. So I leave there. That's Sunday morning. Get up. Got to take care of the house real quick. Feed the dogs. Get everything in order. Get on my train and go to Philadelphia. Last night, 2 shows in Philadelphia. My man Lynn Brown, K Cooper, Super Duper, promoters out there. They got a new spot that they starting to do once a month Sundays. So I did the kickoff. I always feel blessed when people call me for the kickoff, Amir and Pete, because that's saying something extra. You know what I mean? When you say, "Oh, we're gonna kick our thing off," everybody wants that first thing to be special and dope. So when people think of me, I super appreciate that. So 2 shows went off without a hitch. We actually, Teray came out, a bunch of my comedian friends, and we wilded out, had a good time, and got up today and had to move over to Harrisburg. So tonight, Harrisburg, PA, 8 o'clock, like as soon as we get off this show, shower, venues like right down the block, 8 o'clock show with Alex Thomas and Chris Thomas from BET, the original Rap City Mayor. And then finally, when I get home tomorrow, that starts, you know how people had a weekend off. That's really like my weekend off. Like Tuesday, Wednesday, you know what I mean? Thursday, we got to do something, you know, and then back to the grind. But great time, bro. I hope you enjoyed yourself there.
I had an absolutely phenomenal time, man. Like I said, such a, the reason why I brought up Ray DeJean's place in particular, his Laughaholics Comedy Club, which is now Black owned and in Brooklyn. We know we have Jamie Roberts with his comedy spot in Harlem. And I think there's one more out here in Brooklyn. I can't think of the name of it and who owns it at this particular moment.
Oh, yeah, Brooklyn Estates. Gerald Kelly's involved with those guys. Nice guy.
And I bring that up because this is motivating. This gentleman here, has been in the comedy game upwards of 30 years. And one of the things that you always hope to see is the people who you cheer on, the people, as he said, you go out and support. We always look to see the situations go to the next level. For years and years and years, we've been privy to situations such as the Comedy Cellar, Caroline's, and all these other venues that have been, to some degree, at the very least, wonderful to us, generally speaking. But it's wonderful to see now some of the great guys who have been a part of the industry for such a long time now starting to open up spaces of their own where they can still support not What happened? Why did the thing go again?
I don't know, but Pete got to explain that.
Okay.
Prophet Pete, you want to pop in here and explain what the hell just happened?
Yeah, we
in the middle of the man was talking about Jesus Christ, superstar.
But
go ahead.
I just think that, again, to see, these gentlemen in particular now starting to have venues of their own that, now you guys can actually go Black owned. We're getting the, food situations in order. We're getting the energy and the spaces that we need so that we can go and have a good time. We can really enjoy ourselves. You can let your hair down.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you said, to see, some of your peers just pop in, whether it's not only in support, but to sometimes touch that stage. Because the one thing that, I've learned hanging around you is you always have to keep your chops sharp.
Yes.
There's always the possibility of somebody who's just as great as you, if not greater in some people's eyes or some people's minds, coming to test you, coming to see, how sharp you really are and see what's, where your energy lies. And I think that that's a powerful and a motivating thing, because otherwise we fall into these spaces and places where you become complacent. And I want everybody to hear this. There's nothing wrong with complacency except for it leaves room for you to always find yourself not quite at the, top of your game.
Right.
And you always want to be at the top of your game because, again, you just never know who's going to pop in, who's going to, stop through to see if they can push all the right and or wrong buttons in you. And I watched, and I'm saying this because it was hilarious to me, even when he said it. So, like you said, Donnell Rawlings pops in, and Angela Yee, and we in the green room, and everybody's chilling, and everybody's happy to see each other. And Ray DeJean comes back and he said, "Hey T, I think Donnell wants to do like 10 minutes." T, without skipping a beat, said, "Yeah, go on, give him the 10 minutes." So see, Amir, every time I got to prove my love to this goddamn comedy game. When I tell y'all that was probably one of the greatest moments and one of the funniest things I've ever seen, but I loved it because it was real. We tend to believe that, even though we have peers, and this goes for all walks of life, you do have people who know how great you are or how good you are.
Right.
And they have not even necessarily some jealousy, but they're also trying to measure themselves, because when you get in a room with other great people, it raises the bar for everybody. As my mom always told me, tide raises all boats. A rising tide raises all boats. So our job as rising tides is to make sure everybody's leveling up. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. Because the minute, like I said, you start to fall back on your laurels, oh, I got this. I'm already good. I'm nice. There's somebody coming for that spot. And the last thing you want to do is find yourself in a situation, and I don't care whether it's a sold out show or 3 people, where you don't do well, because the one thing that we do as a community is not so much cancel, but we do talk. We will put that on the hot wire and yo, son, you had to see how terrible this guy was. So I just, encourage everybody, get out, support our Black businesses, but more importantly, continue to sharpen your skill set, regardless of what walk of life you're in, because your job is to turn that light on in somebody else. And this weekend in particular was another reminder of that for me. So that was how I got motivated behind what I was able to experience this weekend, because I'm in there and I didn't even come out, but I heard Donnell Rawlings, I heard the crowd crying and everybody laughing, and it was uproarious. And T came right there behind him, was like, "Okay, let's go."
And you gotta swing that back. You gotta swing that back. And it's like, what was motivating for me, speaking of the comics, the older lady who went up Friday night.
Carmencita.
Yeah, Carmencita. God bless her. And you know what stuck with me was this is an older lady who's lived her life probably twice over, and probably had a couple of careers or whatever. And just even at her age, like, you know what? I'm doing this shit. I want to do this shit. I'm going to do this shit. And that is the motive. That's what she's the epitome of what we say every damn Monday on here when we telling people it's more than one you. It ain't nothing you can't do. Blah, blah. And you know what's funny? Speaking of Chris Rock's special, we were talking off air. He has a part in there. It's funny as hell, and this how that's the comedy after my own heart. I like to see shit that's funny as hell, but it's real as hell too. So he goes, fuck drugs. Our society's addicted to attention. And then in making his point, he's talking about social media and how motherfuckers will show their ass, take a picture of their ass to get all the likes and all the attention they can, the OnlyFans, all this shit. And he goes, there's 2 ways you can get all the attention in the world. He said, one, easiest way is to show your ass, right? He said, you can also be excellent at something. Be excellent. He said, Venus and Serena Williams, greatest tennis players of all time. He said, but excellence, the thing with excellence is you got to get up in the morning. You got to practice. You got to do all that. So it's just reverting from what it takes to do.
Yes.
And want the easy way. So he's like, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to show my ass. That was an analogy of how people would take the easier road over the harder road every day, all day. Same thing with watching the Wu-Tang saga, the TV show. And there's a scene in the last episode where they're in a barbershop. And you could tell a young dude that's trying to join the nation, whatever, they got him sweeping and little shit around the barbershop. So the toilet gets clogged. He said, yo, young, go handle that. So the dude is like, young boy's like, you want me to go and handle the toilet? He's like, yeah, fix the toilet. He's like, man, you tell me I'm God, and then you sending me in to fix the toilet? Man, I'm out of this motherfucker. like that, right? And the other guy had to go outside and kind of break down to him like, God, it's like, Bill, God, like, why are you joining the nation? So boom, 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 and kind of like broke it down, gave him a different way to look at it instead of straightforward where that cut and dry and that easy. That's what we talk about in life every day. People will take the short fucking cut all day, every day, and then you wonder why. We could use me as an example. 32 years in comedy, right? Most cats, 30 years in comedy are not as relevant. It's a handful of them. You can count on your hands. And it's because the ones who took the shortcut, most of them, while you still building your career, niggas are fizzling out. You 15 years in, that one falls to the wayside. You 20 years in, they fall. They quit. They go on 30 years in. And there's a lot of that because you don't want to stick with it and drive and give it what it needs and to nurture it. It might take a long fucking time. But the fruits of the labor, in the ends justify the means. You got to do what it takes and stop trying to, like you said, procrastinate, stagnate, sit in one situation, because there's always somebody that want to do what it is that you say you do. Always.
What's so crazy, and I'm glad that like you said, you brought that perspective to this discussion, because I think for a lot of people, that's something else that most people are not really aware of.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to believe that, again, even somebody such as yourself, talent is this super mega star, and he's been on radio, he's been in film, he's been on TV, and all these nefarious things. But to your point, they forget that there is a lot of work that went into each and every one of those moments in your development, not only from the standpoint of the hard work that you had to do behind the scenes when nobody had the camera on you and things of that magnitude, but then there is just the sheer moments where you were totally doing the things that need to be done in order to be prepared for those moments.
Right.
And I segue into that because, you and I are big sports fans, and I know we haven't had a chance to talk about this yet, but, a very young superstar in the league has now found himself on the, shakier side of things as far as the NBA is concerned, unfortunately, based off an incident that happened over the weekend. And I was really looking at it because I see so many people going hard and like, Amir, he should know better and this and that and the third. And I said, hold up. I said, I want some of y'all to really think about this. The young man is 24 years old. It's no question he made a mistake, but he's 24. I always tell people this because this is how I look at things when I'm even having these conversations with my daughters or people in general. Think about 24-old you. And how special you probably were at 24. The other difference in your 24 and his 24, he's got almost 300 million on top of that. You had maybe $3,000 if you were lucky. It's a big difference in monetary value and all the things that go along with it, coupled with he's also knapsacking in a real way this new version of the NBA. Yes, there's still LeBron and Giannis and Steph Curry and all these other amazing players and superstars in the league. But he is quickly becoming the face of the league. T, you could attest to this because you are in the entertainment industry. It's not always easy to carry all of that on your shoulders and try to maneuver the world the way we see it. Why? Because there's 1,000 people and things pulling at you. There's the unsurety sometimes, even when the lights aren't on and you sitting around like, yo, is this really happening? Are people really expecting this of me? And do they want these things, to and from me? But I share all of that with you guys because, again, these are motivational and teaching moments. Allow yourself the opportunity to make mistakes. All mistakes is the opportunity for you to hopefully learn something. That's it. And they don't last forever. We could look at situation after situation, and T, again, could attest to this. We had the Malice in the Palace. Remember that one, y'all? For those of you who know basketball, we had the Malice in the Palace. I've gone on to get to know Ron Artest a little bit better, since those days. Steven Jackson now has a top podcast. His partner in crime, Matt Barnes, he used to have all kind of issues, when he was in the league. These are young men and women, because, it's happening to, some of our female athletes as well, and entertainers, They're young people who come from situation and means where sometimes they may or may not have the proper people around them who know better, who know how to steer some of those spaces. That doesn't make them bad people. It just means they're trying to learn. And sometimes learning on the fly is way harder than having people who can really help you steer through, a situation. So I just, encourage us all. Let's be more patient with one another. Let's understand that mistakes are going to happen, good, bad, indifferent. And it's just, again, an opportunity for you to learn and be better and be a stronger version of yourself. So please, y'all, let's work on that. Because that really bothered me. I was watching people just try to tear this kid. I said, he's 24. Like,
Yeah,
he's a baby.
you know how these things go, bro. It don't take much at all. Quick shout out of an event that's coming up this month. It's very important. Our girl Lisa Ray from out in Queens, a couple of years ago, she started this foundation, Angel Hearts for Hope. Angels Hearts for Hope. So the board members every year presents her annual celebrity birthday celebration fundraiser. This is the second annual coming up, March 22nd, 7:30. It's going to be hosted by myself and her son Bryce. We're going to be doing it up. We got special performances, special celebration celebrating hip hop's 50th birthday as well. Music by DJ Spitfire. So it's going to be a good night. We're going to come out. We're going to have some fun middle of the week. And more importantly, it's going to be for a super worthy cause. Again, she's the founder of Angels Hearts for Hope. She is the founder, Lisa Angel Ray. So she's going to be celebrating the second annual birthday fundraiser for the event. So definitely want to be that. Now, what she does here is because she suffered from, she suffers from MS, multiple sclerosis. So she goes through MS. For people that don't know, Richard Pryor, famous comedian, probably one of the best that ever did it, suffered from it as well. In the middle of his career, and it started to hinder him doing what he's doing. She's on the med, she's on the workout, it knocked her all the way down. And I'm proud of her because she brought her weight all the way up. She because these things are really debilitating. And again, we talk about headspace all the time on this show with Motivation Monday. And this is why we say headspace is so important, because these things that are being thrown our way in this thing called life are not so simple to just disregard or turn a blind eye or move on to the next thing. Some of these things, not just mentally and emotionally, but physically take you away, take you out of the fucking playing field. Like, you can't walk, the movement of your ligaments and your arms and legs, your vitals and all that. So some people are physically bedbound, chair-bound, whatever it is, and can easily fall into that funk like, all right, this is what it is, rest of my life. Or they could say, well, can I get back? What do I need to do? Well, you need to do this kind of therapy. We have this procedure for you, whatever. Maybe, maybe these meds, whatever the case may be. I'm not a big fan of meds, but I do understand sometimes you don't have a choice. But yeah, shout out to her for doing her thing and turning it all the way around and doing the thing. And look out we're working together on a documentary of Manhattan Proper days and what Manhattan Proper meant to New York comedy and urban comedy and fun scene and all that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so let's go here now. John Morant, we were just talking about this young dude, and keep in mind young. Keep in mind young. Being the age he is, got caught up and did what he got to do. He's taking time away from the team. He issued a statement. This, that, the third. Now, there's another black dude in sports, another young man, a phenomenal player in football, in the NFL. And my man, Lamar Jackson. Now, those that don't know what's going on with him, again, this is why I love people that's on this shit. So he is one of the top 5 or top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, depending on who you talk to. Clearly in the class by himself. Plays that game like nobody's business. And he plays for the Baltimore Ravens, who by now, really a year ago, should have took care of this man and worked out some sort of contract going forward. They didn't. Now, usually when that happens, the player opts out to play because they don't know they have an uncertain future. This guy he went above and beyond that and said, you know what? Even though they didn't do the right thing and we didn't work out the contract, I'm going to play anyway to make it clear and apparent right now how dope and detrimental I am and how bad I am, where I rank in QB. And I'm not gonna front. There was a huge gamble, but he bet on himself, and it almost had he gotten injured earlier, it wouldn't have paid off. But to me, he got injured so late in the season, it made such a difference of positioning and playoffs coming and everything. He proved his worth. However, it still didn't get done. Now, a lot of us, just like I said about MS, a lot of us get in these positions financially, and we're trying to cut our deal because we got things to do, bills to pay, and all that. And we can easily, again, go into that funk, which is never a good place. And when you're in that funk, not only is it not a good place to be for several reasons, we make a lot of our worst decisions when we're in these funks. So this guy, who, from my understanding, his mom is his agent. And if she ain't the agent, she's the highest advisor, you know what I mean, and consultant of his business. The holdup, Amir, is the man wants a fully guaranteed contract. They want to give him a contract, but they don't want to give him a fully guaranteed contract. Now, this is the new football. We always talk about the game's changing or whatever. We're watching in history right now, football changing. And the reason they do that is because football has the worst health package and everything to take care of the players after they're hurt and said and done, insurance policies, and contracts. Like, they're known for, you'll watch a guy make the news and go, they gave him $200 million over 2 years, and only $10 million is guaranteed. So he twists his ankle, and then $190 million just disappeared like that. So they're changing the game, trying to protect themselves for their future financially. Totally get it. But let this man be an example to you of perseverance. Let Lisa Ray be an example to you of perseverance. That's what being motivated is all about. Being motivated to say, because unfortunately, here's the deal. The world's unfair. There it is. Put it out there. I was going to put it out there. I know this is news to a lot of people. You probably thought it was supposed to be fair for you. The world is naturally unfair. For every person that roots for you, that wants you to win, that will help you, there's about 10 people hoping the opposite. Everything you go through in life, good and bad or indifferent. That's why I say, like, when nothing happens in my day, people say, how was your day? That was a great day. Because nothing bad happened. They'd be like, yeah, but nothing good happened. Nigga, when nothing bad happened, everything's good. The good news is nothing bad happened. See, we get caught up in it. If it ain't this, it ain't this. Enjoy the middle. You didn't get a call, nobody passed away. Your body ain't aching. You didn't lose any money. You didn't lose any sleep. The sun is out. It's great. Why? Because nothing bad happened. People wait to see. You can't. This half full, half empty. You can't have it both ways. You got to pick a side. So if you're one of those people that literally got to wait for something specific good to happen to say it was a good day, you're doing yourself a disservice. Every day when nothing bad happens, that's a great day, because things can happen. And if you ever notice, pay attention. This is what I mean by the playing field of good and bad is not level. It never has been. You know, you'll walk around, in the course of a week, 3 or 4 bad things that happen to you. I don't know. You lost your wallet. You stepped in dog shit or a puddle, or you overslept for work, or you got cursed out, or whatever it is. These things constantly come in 2s and 3s and 4s. And then that distinct good thing that you've been waiting for is so far-fetched in between and sporadic. You jump for joy and everything, not knowing that every day that the bad thing don't creep in. Nothing bad happened. It's actually the good.
No, you know what? It's so funny that you even put it, like you said, in that perspective. I think, one of the challenges for so many of us is just that. We have to, in theory, stop believing and thinking that there is an absolute either way. There is only perspectives based off of your experiences. Nothing's right and nothing's wrong. It's just your experience based off of what you've gone through to get to that point at that time, by the way. We as men and women, as human beings, we argue, we fight. And this is, it has to be. No, it doesn't. It just has to be your experience. And here's the thing about your experience, which is why it's so paramount. I was looking at a video even before we got on here tonight, and I was overhearing the video, and somewhere in the video was saying, what would I say to my 22-year-old me, or something along those crazy lines. And I started thinking about it, and I said, it's so funny. We have these movies, 17 again, and, all these nefarious things that put us in these spaces where people, say, these kinds of things that we need to think about things from that perspective. And I always tell people, what's so amazing? Everything that's happening to and for you is setting you up for what is to come. Mm-hmm. That's why it's happening. You can't pick and choose that these things are happening specifically so that as the other challenges come down the line, guess what you'll be able to do? Weather it, because you've been battle tested. You've been in situations that allow you to go, oh snap, I've been down this road before. I remember this block. But we have to start to embrace that and understand that that's all it is. It's not the world punishing you. It's not a higher being, a higher power punishing you or anything like that. It's just giving you some sort of challenge so that this way, when you get on the other side of it, you're standing strong, you know what you're doing, you're capable, and everything else seems to fall in place because now you're battle tested. We always hear words like testament, testimony, and all that stuff. And the word in there is test, in case you're not paying attention. We've gotten so far to school, we forgot the root word. The root word is test. We hear the word test, as we remember, that's them trying to figure out, did you learn anything while the teacher was up there saying, 4 plus 3 is 7, and and all those kinds of things. Because we sit there, I got it. Then you get to the test and you blank out. So what life is just moments that, to T's point, are usually as calm and as wonderful as they can be until there's a dip, a high or a low, because you need that for what is coming down the line. But you got to learn to embrace that stuff. We got to stop beating ourselves up, beating each other up. How'd you get here? I'm here. Doesn't make a difference how I got here. I'm here. All I can do now is work through it and get to the other side of this, because it is challenging to me. It is something that, even T talked about this later, has your energy going up and down. We talk about energy all the time. Keep that energy as high as you can keep it. You'll be surprised at the things that can't touch you when you're on a high. They just can't touch you. No matter what anybody else is saying and doing, you up here, you're soaring. Like they say, you look at eagles. Eagles just soar. They way up in the sky. You don't never see no pigeons hanging out with eagles.
Right.
You don't. They can't get that high. They can't get that high. And that's not a knock to pigeons, because they fly pretty high. But eagles soar. Pigeons fly. You've never heard somebody say, I saw a pigeon, it was soaring. You never heard that. You saw some pigeons flying. But that's to tell you the difference in ideologies. That's to tell you the difference in what it takes to be in that space. And that's the same for each and every one of you. You're an eagle. Soar. It's okay. And if somebody doesn't, ain't used to you soaring, that ain't your fault. Let them stay. If they want to run on the ground, if they want to get to pigeon height, it's okay. That's what it is for them. But you soar and do what you're supposed to do, because I promise you, there's somebody watching you, there's somebody taking note, and yes, they may or may not ever share with you that they have been watching you, but you tend to know. Look, I always tell people this. The one thing that I'm very aware of is how your influence is on people. When you start to see specific things that you implemented, and all of a sudden you see all your friends doing it, you're like, so now we're gonna act like we didn't have anything to do with that. Okay, no problem. I don't even call people out. I just kind of smile about it. I'm like, look, this is what we do. This is how you're supposed to put your brand of whatever out, so that the universe, the people who are supposed to receive it. That's just the way that goes. Please don't let anybody tell you there's some other way to do it, because there's not. I've been around too many people, especially in the last 3 years, where I've really started to see and understand that. But I also understand those energies also attract one another, which is why you look up and you like, dag, why is these same people around these same people? They're working off the same energy. And
Mm.
that's where you want to be. You want to be in that energy. You don't want to be in some stuff where it's draining you. You don't want to be in some stuff where it's pulling you down. For what? You only got one shot at this game of life, as far as we know. And I'm not saying that to be mean or facetious. It's just, it is what it is. But in that game, play it one to the best of your ability and damn sure play to win. Why would you play to lose? What do you play to, what in life do you play to lose? I'm waiting. And I'm not saying that you're going to win every time, but what I am saying is you can sometimes give somebody so much of a run that they be like, yo, I would have never beat you if you didn't force me to have to go into my bag of tricks.
So let me ask you this. Speaking of winning and losing, because this is there's mixed reviews and feelings on this. So when the kids start competing in sports and different things, there's the surveys that are split. You know, you have half people think that it's okay to have winners and losers, and then half of people believe that we shouldn't do that. Everyone should be a winner. You know, keeps the kids' morale a certain way or whatever. For the ones who will end up losing, like everyone's that whole attitude, like everyone's a winner here. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I never liked that idea. I always felt like you just said, what keeps you on your A game and keeps you pushing forward is something has to drive you. If you take the drive from people, now we're back to what we were talking about in minute one of the show with stagnation and complacency. But I think that if you have to strive to get first, second, third place, to get trophies, to be called the winner or whatever, I think that's healthy because life does become a more detrimental and serious competition. It's still competition. When you get a job at said corporation, you're coming in here and want to stay here the rest of your life. You're trying to figure out how I can keep doing this, support my family with raises and promotions and blah, blah, blah. Who knows? Maybe I'd be the president. You know what I mean? Like, so because life turns into a competition, I believe in extracurricular stuff and things that kids get into, debates and everything else. There should be a winner and a loser.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I agree. I think there should be a winner and a loser because I think, to your point, first of all, you have to have some measure, even if your true measure should be yourself. But because a good portion of us don't understand that concept until much later in life, and that just is the way that it is. Because I know for a fact, sometimes I sit around and I smile about 13-year-old me or 23-year-old me or 34-year-old me. And I'd be thinking to myself the stuff that I was thinking back then and how I was moving and how I was upset that, for instance, I like this particular young lady and she didn't like me back. And I was like, what was wrong with me? I was a good guy and, and all this stuff. And then you fast forward to where you are now and you bump to these same people. This goes for both men and for women. And you're in the space that you're in, meaning you're self-aware. You love yourself. You're taking care of yourself. You're doing all the things you need to do. Now you're the finest thing since sliced bread. And you're like, well, where was that when we was 13? And I needed somebody to believe in me. Like, what? Why couldn't you be that person then? But that goes to show you, this is what I mean. The evolution of each and every one of us, sometimes it, happens at different stages. I've said this and, gone on record. Competition, what that really allows you to do is measure your best version of you and get to that point. Because once you get to that point, it is so dope to be your best version, or at least what you perceive to be your best version, because now you don't have to go out here and, for the men, you don't have to get out here and go, yo, I gotta look like this guy or, do things like this guy. This is me.
Right,
it is what it is. You're gonna appreciate it. Excuse me. Same for you ladies. I get so frustrated with you guys because, I get it. You supposedly feel as though the younger ladies and the youth are something that, you may have to compete with. And I'm one of those believers that as long as you're doing what you can to present and put forth the best version of you that you can put forth, that's all that matters. There's always going to be a new version of anything and everything. So what? So what? Some of the best versions of stuff is the old classics. We love cars. We love, some of you ladies love handbags. The Louis Vuitton clutch from '84 is still a classic. You wouldn't throw that away. You're like, you know what? The little tuck up under my arm joint, moving and
Right,
shaking.
right.
You understand what I'm saying? Yes, they've come out with bigger bags and older, but the clutch was the joint because that was when Hawaiian suits was out, and that's when you had the 1154s and the half matching socks, one pink sock on one leg, one white sock on the other, and all kind of crazy stuff. But you remember your sense of style, your swag was there. Now you get to be an older person, and sometimes you don't necessarily feel as great. I know Alfreda's on here. And I'm going to say this, Alfreda, because you put up a picture the other day of yourself ready for church. Beautiful picture. But that's what I'm talking about. You have to take a moment and say to yourself, wait a minute, I'm enough. I'm dope. Whether people admit it or not, I know it. I can see it. I'm going to present this to the world, and I'm going to let the world decide. Because it's easy to get, as Talon said, caught up in what you perceive other people to think and feel about you. Who cares? That's their perception. They have no idea what trials and tribulations. They have no idea what traumas and triggers you might be going through. And most importantly, they did not walk not one step in your shoes. They don't know how you got to where you got to. You know, people have had the pleasure of really listening to their stories, and sometimes I'll be like this. You still standing? God bless you. Wow.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
Here's my thing. You said some shit about women busy competing, right? Here's my thing. And then women, the same women that worry about competing with younger chicks are the same women that complain about the type of men you get. Don't you think you shouldn't be looking for that type of guy? That nigga who wants a younger woman that you got to compete with, I can tell you right now. If you're in competition, right? Let's take me out. And this young lady I see is 49. And I still see you competing with the 30-something, early 40. Why? Like, because I'm not looking for them. I'm not on that. So, and vice versa. If you're looking for me, I'm not looking for them. So why are you competing with them who already ain't in the competition? They could take all them eyelashes and BBLs,
baby hairs,
and fucking souped up Crocs, because that's what they're doing now in the airport. All these souped up, fucked up looking Crocs, right? You take all that shit and go fuck yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like the dude said on the intro right here, you cocksucker. You could listen. I just don't understand competition. You shouldn't be in certain competitions. And the fact that you're an old, grown-ass motherfucker and you still in those competitions, that tells me everything I need to know right there. You're not as mature as me. You're not grown up because you're competing with that.
And it's not a competition, as T just said. The reality of it all is you are morphing or evolving into what is going to be something so incredible that whoever and whatever is supposed to be a part of that, it's a win. And I'm talking about a super win. I'm not talking about one of them, and I'm talking about we're off and running. But we got to understand that's what our superpowers are. That goes for both men and for women. I get, like I said, I get so frustrated when I'm out here and I'm watching. We still want to be 20. You're not 22. It's okay. You had your chance of being 22, and that doesn't make it a good thing or bad thing. That just makes it what it was. But now at 50, whatever, it's your job to show the 50-year-old somethings. Look at what I'm talking about. This is really what it's about. You know what I mean? And be proud of it. Embrace it. Do what you can to, keep it in, as good a shape as you possibly can, and smile. I find so much of us, like I said, we just fall into these weird spaces and we kind of just stay there. And you got to pick yourself up. Talon talked about it earlier. We talked about it earlier. You got to pick yourself up and dust yourself off. I had a Zoom call that I did over the weekend, and somebody asked me, what song, was I listening to stay motivated? And for those of you who are gonna, on here now, and for those of you who watch this later, my new song is Michael Jackson's Almost There. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with that song, but what makes the song to me so great is beyond the words. the music on that song is so dope because there's these crescendos where the music be the drum track be just right, the horns and everything are going up and down, and you're just sitting in there like, wait a minute, ooh, oh, okay. But I look for things like that to keep me motivated because that's what we're doing. We're getting to the places that we'd like to get to. It's one step at a time. There's no shortcuts. I know that there's a ton of people who believe, no, Amir, went viral. And okay, now that you went viral, now what? I went viral too. Now what? The viral part doesn't really do anything other than, yes, put some new people on who may or may not be in your circle, but they also may or may not be real people. And that doesn't mean I'm talking about AI technology or anything like that. I'm talking about people who are truly vested in you. People who think and understand how great and how important you are to their daily diet and the things that go on in their world. That's what this journey is supposed to be about.
Now,
Helping each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but see, we change so much. I believe in like change as it should be timely, but it should be methodically. You know what I mean? And not haste. I think what's happening with technology, and in turn it falls on us, is that it's a lot of haste to get to that next thing. We could tell by the flipping of the phones alone, just how phones flip a little less than a year. You know what I mean? So this is reflecting on us as people, because if you look at the average person, what are they always into? Their fucking phone. I don't care if they're on the subway going home. I don't care if they're walking down the street. I don't care if they're eating dinner. I don't care if they're at the house. They're in their phone so much, like 99.9 of a movement. Even when people ain't on the phone, they hold the phone. Like when phones first came out, you put that shit away till you need it. Not now. That motherfucker walk around like this. So this turns you into a certain person. And that person, to me, is a replica in human form of what I just said about technology. Now you're changing too much too fast.
Yeah.
And with haste comes waste all the time, or mistakes at least. So when you do something too fast, and I think people are changing up too fast. Like I know people like that I run into them, right? And it's something different every time. Right? I'm like, oh, you're into that. Oh, you're wearing that now. Oh, you're dressing like that. Oh, like every time. I might see them every 2, 3, 4 months. But every time you see him, it's like you can't set your watch to the motherfucker like, oh, I thought he was into baggy jeans. Clearly not. Oh, I thought he was into shoes all the time. Clearly not. Like I thought he liked women. Clearly not. Like you just don't know. Every time there's some change. And I think that's the epitome of us. We're replicating technology and AI around us. Because it's moving at a certain speed and changing. We're, unknowingly moving at a certain speed and changing. And that affects your attitude. So hence, like something simple, like I said, you change it so much you can't stand this one groove. That's like divorce. The divorce rate just constantly goes up because the people they do it because, let's face it, marriage sometimes is done for convenience or to prove your love, profess your love. And I really want her to know how much I love her. I got to propose. I got to get married, blah, blah, blah. Or she's always going to have that little hang up about that, right? But you're not really doing what it takes for marriage, longevity wise. You're doing what it takes right now to get into marriage, to prove your love or profess your love and be taken seriously, whatever the case may be. But marriage is a thing that needs to be worked on through the rest of the duration of your life, supposedly. We are not in those days anymore. People have no problem fucking up in the marriage 2, 3 years, doing it again. Fucking it up in 4 or 5 years, doing it again. Fucking it up in 4 more years and doing it. People have no problem with that. I have every problem in the world with that. But most people don't move like me. Like one thing about me, I create my bubble and I move my bubble through life. I don't go with life's bubble that's just already out there because too many twists and turns. I like to know what I'm doing, how I'm doing, when I'm doing. You know what I mean? But I think people are a reflection of what's going on with technology because we're so intertwined with technology. Check the hotel yesterday, and it went from you had to pay for movies on the TV in the hotel to the TV got the movie channels now. So if it's on HBO Showtime, you can just look at it and catch it when it come on. To now we stream it. where you had the things you could click on the smart TVs, the Netflix, the Hulus, the Tubies, whatever you want, the YouTube TV, right? Now, you don't even touch the fucking TV, dude. I come in the hotel and whatever I got on my phone, I could just Chromecast it to the damn TV. And it's the same fucking thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is what I'm talking about. This is how fast changes happen. And we got to adapt to the shit. So I find myself half out of amazement. Like, look at this crazy shit. Like, what else could I put up there? I'm trying to, but I mean, I think it's a mirror, if you will. Yeah. Technology and AI to human motherfucking citizens in the world. We're mirroring the change in how we do it. And I don't think that's healthy or natural for humans. But that's the speed we're moving. Hence, if you pay attention, people are dying at a young age. Motherfuckers ain't making it to 100. The people we see at 100 right now, them the last ones of the 100s. Everybody else, that generation that coming behind that, you lucky getting them 90s.
Yeah.
In them 80s.
You touched on something that really is something that we do have to be mindful of. Technology, I've always said, is a amazing tool if used properly and handled with care. I do think that, unfortunately, we are abusing it. We are unfortunately being led to believe that is the end all, the be all. We've gotten out of touch with what is probably one of our greatest senses, and that is touch. That is being able to be in the space with the people who we care about and or love, because there is something different about that energy. These, wonderful applications that we have where we can see each other on a screen is great. But that's not the same as you being in a room with somebody who you care about, because your senses go off differently. You could be in a room with somebody who you care about and truly feel like, yo, you all right? Everything, going all right on this thing. You can sit here and nobody know that, you're going through anything, stuff's going on. We make up, all kind of falsehoods, everything from, going to some of these department stores and filming, scenes. This is my house and this and that and third. You're in a department store, sir. Like that's not even your house at all. What are we talking about? Same thing for Home Depots and people with fake flights. You take the Clorox bottle and put a picture behind, the circle in the Clorox bottle. You take a picture, look like you catching flights and, putting all kind of, funny music and things to it. And again, believe you me, the only thing that I think is wrong with that is you can really do these things. You just have to set your mind to it. You have to believe that it's possible for you. And then you just have to put yourself in the spaces and places where you can make that come to fruition. Too many of us, again, want things that, we think are instantaneous. A lot of us in the 50-year-old, group especially, we remember the days of when it took forever to make some oatmeal or cream of wheat or what you call it. Remember, your mom's get you up early. She start that breakfast at 6 something in the morning. So by the time, 6:30 hit, you can have that bowl of hot cereal and be off and on your way to school. But now, because we have microwaves and we got air fryers and, all these nefarious things, yes, it takes less time to make things, but there's also not the same love is given. That's why some of the foods aren't as good as they used to be. When your grandmother, your mama and them used to make certain things, whether it was a pound cake, a bundt cake, or fried chicken or potato salad, as we used to say, they put their foot in it, but it's not that, it's the love. They're doing it because they know the end result is you are going to partake in it and you'll feel that love. You get that, it tastes, it hit just right every time. You know what, damn. Still hits right every time. But that's all a part of the process. And we forget that any and all great goals have a procedure and processes that allow us to get to that point. In my downtime, I do so much of looking on these particular platforms for the people who are now sharing their stories, how they've gotten to specific places. I saw the other day a video of Kobe Bryant. They showed, said it was rare footage of his workout for the Clippers. This wasn't even for the Lakers. This was for the Clippers. Kobe came down, he crossed over, he dunked it, came back down, did a crossover move, shot a three, went back the other way. Now, I was watching it and I was tired. And that was just me watching it. So I'm looking to and saying to myself, y'all don't realize again how hard some of these people work to be in the positions that they in. Yes, to us it seems like it's effortless, but it's not. That is hours and countless hours of repetition, discipline. I promise you, there
Yes.
is nothing that you will ever achieve without discipline. I'm gonna say that again. There is nothing that you will ever, 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 ever achieve without discipline, and that means the first thing that you got to discipline is you. You got to get yourself in alignment. You're your number one star player. So whatever it takes for you to get to wherever your goal is, you got to discipline yourself. And that means sometimes you have to pull away from the things that are early gratification. You know, I love my love in basketball. Is love in basketball going to get you to that trip or to amount of money that you want in
Right.
order to do the things you want to do in life? And if it's not, I'm not saying. Here's what you need to know: if we haven't learned anything else, again, in 3 years, you can go watch any and every old show you ever can think of, from start to end. 18, Facts of Life, Love Boat. Doesn't make a difference. You can pull it up now because of these applications and go back. And so if you miss Love and Basketball, the 2023 season, who cares? You can watch it next year in the 2024. But you'll be that much further along in your own personal development and the things that you're trying to do versus paying in or buying into people who are already doing well. I kid you not. I had a conversation with somebody today. I know we went crazy. It's Beyonce tickets. $1,000? Are y'all high? Look, I love Beyonce, but you can put those same songs on YouTube and play a Beyonce mix. Be in your house, lose your mind, dance, sweat, all of that. You ain't have to fight a crowd. And that's no disrespect to her. She's doing her craft. She's doing what she's supposed to do. But $1,000? Look, lady, you're already a billionaire. Calm down. What are we talking about? Settle down. Settle down. As T likes to say, settle down.
Well,
So,
you're not in the beehive, Amir. You know.
yeah, but you understand what I'm saying, T? So I say that to people because I realize that's our problem. We are so busy, trying to facilitate supporting our superstars and all this and that and the third. They all right already. You're the one struggling. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying you shouldn't support them. I'm saying get to that point when you know you're at that point and it's okay for you. I'm going to Dubai to see Beyonce in Dubai. What?
But how you the person that's struggling in every way? I got a problem with that. I got a problem with that. Like even something simple. I'm gonna dumb it all the way down to cheap shit. Like at my local bar. When I see somebody in my local bar, and we go by how we feeling when we start buying each other drinks and stuff like that. Just feel that way. I give my man a drink. But when you in the local bar and you coming over, hey man, you get your boy a drink. I don't think you should be here tonight. If you this ain't your money night. I don't think this is the night for you. Like when I had no cash, you know what? I'm gonna take this no cash day as a detox day. I'm gonna take a day off. I ain't got no cash. Shit hit the account tomorrow. Cool. Blah blah blah. Today I'm gonna go ahead and get a little water, detox, hydrate, put my shows on, get the dogs on my lap. I don't understand these people that want they're struggling and but you everywhere.
Like, what are we doing? And I say this, humbly because then you get and I'm gonna say this. You have the opportunity or opportunities are coming your way, regardless to whatever they may be. Please don't be the people who repeatedly, and this is what the word poor means, pass over opportunities either regularly or repeatedly. Poor. Passing over opportunities repeatedly or regularly. Stop doing that. God is trying to talk to you. Hey, I'm going to need you to focus. It's not going to come wrapped in the bow that you might like it. It's not going to come, put in a situation that you might want, and that's okay. But what it will do and what it can do is put you in a position to now do better. Find your way. Get your pathway going. Don't get caught up in the, well, I don't have the time. I had a mentor tell me this recently. He said, if you don't have the time, then that means you are poor from a time standpoint. And I was like, wow, that's deep. Because you should never be poor to the point that you don't have time to enjoy this journey called life. It goes like this. There's certain things that you can't get back. Time is one of them. Yeah, you ain't never heard nobody go, yo, you know what, man? I reclaimed 82. That was my joint. Reclaimed 82, son. That was my year.
I'm not doing this shit with you, man. I'm not doing this shit. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you heard us today because we were screaming and we meant every damn word we said. It's a Motivation Monday. I gotta get a shower, go to this show. Thank you, brother Amir. That's Amir Silly. I'm Talon Harris, your producer, the super producer, Prophet Pete, brought to you. We are back in business, baby. Take this. This will stay up on YouTube channel and everything. Take this, listen to it. I don't know if we need to hear everything we just said. Share it with them and do what you got to do. Salute everybody. Have a great week. See you back here. Same bad channel, same bad time. 1 week. Let's go.
Let's go.
It's Monday, cocksuckers, and you better come prepared because they don't fuck around on Monday. Monday, most people come in. I had such a great weekend. Oh my God, go fuck yourself. That was then. This is now, bitch. It's a whole new set of rules. It's Monday. If you ain't waking up with the taste of blood in your fucking mouth like a shark 5 feet from the shore, you fucked up. You understand? Because Monday is when you go everything else in life. Still, the weekend, you fucking go.